Shalom, shalom to the remnant, to the elect, to the called out, to the chosen, far and near, those that have gathered and those that are looking towards the great gathering of Yah. This is Sibaya. I have a very good lesson to teach. And you know, when I always do my lessons, there's always rebukes. And my lessons are always to correct the naysayers, the opposers, the liars, the deceivers, and those that are working out Satan's plan to deceive the whole world, and even the elect, if it was possible. Be assured that though Satan is deceiving the whole world in these last days, his target is to try to deceive the very elect if it was possible. But the elect, the called and the chosen, will hear his voice. Before I go into the lesson, I want to give all honor and praises and glory to Yahweh, El Elyon, Yahweh, the most high power of all powers in heaven, the high power, our Father, and to Yah Yahoshua, his son, sitting at the right hand of Yah, our high priest, Melchizedek, vying and mediating for our sins on a daily basis as we give a daily sacrifice, and giving all honor and glory and praises, kol hakavod, to the angel of Yah, the Malach Yah, Yahweh, aka also known as the Holy Spirit, Kadosh, 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 to the three of them, Achad, unified as one. As you can see here, there is a speech of a world conspiracy. A conspiracy. Now, we're not talking about flat earth. We're not doing flat earth. But there is a conspiracy that is talked about, as in we have been lied to concerning Africa, concerning the Middle East, concerning where Eden is and where the promised land is. There is a speech that Satan has lied to us about where the land of Israel is, where the land of promise is. So I'm here to give you a one-on-one lesson on Bible geography, historical Bible geography, an undeniable history of geography, empires, nations, and lands. Where is Eden? The map conspiracy of Africa. Now, I have been asked for about 2 years now, when are you going to go in on Big Judah? And when are you going to go in on these people lying and deceiving our people that Africa is the promised land? That Tanzania and Ethiopia, going back. So I have been asked about 2 years now, a little over 2 years, when am I going to go in on the conspiracy of people teaching that Africa or America is the promised land? And I've had quite a few brothers harass me, and some ask me nicely, since they know that I'm one of a corrector of lies and the corrector of deceivers and the corrector of truth. And I bring it in a way that cannot be denied. And I'm going to bring it again. So I haven't done it. When I heard the flat earth thing, y'all was like, I'm not doing this, right? Anyone wants to go with that theory to think that this is the great deception of Satan, let them go with it. What does that change? What does that have to do with your salvation at the end of the day? Absolutely nothing. America, if anyone wants to believe that America is the new, let them stay there. I feel like that, come on now, that's stupid. You know, that's beneath common sense to me. I don't, like, certain things we need to avoid, right? Silly questions, that's silly to me, right? But then there's the idea that Africa is the promised land. And I heard little subtle things back in the day, in my father's day, maybe like 25, 30 years ago. And this map that you see here that's not very clear, I remember this map. I don't remember where it was published. And I can't get a clear picture of it because it's been something that has been surfaced and reprinted for, I would say, about 20 years now. I've seen this map when I was a little girl. But by no means, when I saw these maps, did I hear anybody pushing Africa the promised land, right? by no means was that a doctrine that floated around the awakening, the old awakening, the brew awakening, the true awakening, the false awakening. By no means. All that was conscious community talk, Kemetism, right? that was not a part of the Bible. It wasn't even a question. Now, I'm not talking about the fact that Africa is a land full of resources, no doubt. But the biggest resource in this world is what? Huh? No. Oil. And that don't lead back to Africa. Guess where that leads back to? Arabia and Iraq and Iran. The borders of what we understand is the land of Shem and its promise. Outside of that, the biggest producing African country is Nigeria. You ain't go. That's the goal of this world. That's like, it's the same in the sense that y'all, nothing goes around without oil. You can't eat gold, y'all. Gold is worthless if it doesn't have something to compare it to that is useful. Otherwise, all you could use gold for is, like I said, a Babylonian currency that you trade off really the goods that you need, right? But it doesn't make anything run. Or you could use it for electricity. The problem with this gold is that it's very pliable. So it's not really good to make wires and electronics with, just to a certain degree. But Yah says, yes, we are the gold and the silver, the crystals and all of that produce electricity, but nothing runs without what? Oil, right? So he talks about the elect being those that have oil in their lamps that never run out for everlasting life. Forget about gold. The world runs on oil. So I understand about that, but I remember this map. And where is Eden? This has been an ancient search, not just from the Black people, but Christians and Muslims and anthropologists, and I'm making up stuff, and geologists, and have been studying the Bible in particular and ancient history to try to figure out where this Garden of Eden, where Adam and Eve first fell. Now, National Geographic has come out with, you know, the Lucy ape-looking thing.
In 1974, the discovery of a 3-million-year-old female that walked on 2 legs rocked the world. Researchers knew her as AL2881. To the public, she was simply Lucy. But questions remain about her species, Australopithecus afarensis.
We do have our genus.
What these discoveries are telling us is that there's a lot out there to be found. That we actually don't have the whole story of human evolution.
I mean, it looks like it might be a fragment of like the supraorbital torus or something.
Oh my God.
The Homo naledi fossils are extraordinary in a wide variety of ways. We know they have the characters of an early member of the genus Homo. By comparing their morphology to other early hominids, we can see that we would place them right at the base of the lineage that leads to us. We've never seen a non-human that shares so many primitive and yet sometimes advanced characters. Tiny brain, curved fingers, but a generally human-like hand, long legs, and a human foot. We are looking at well over a dozen, in fact, probably around 18 different individuals, representing all different age spans from near fetal age to senile individuals who were at the last stages of their lives. When I first saw these images by my exploration team, I knew that we had to act. The Rising Star Cave System is one of the best known in South Africa. It's been caved continuously for more than 50 years. I had this fossil lying on the surface, and I could see that it had been damaged. So I called National Geographic to put together an expedition, fast.
How are you getting inside?
The entrance is very, very difficult. To get to it, you have to move through a 7.5-inch slot, wiggling your way across sharp rocks before you drop into this remarkable little chamber. And the floor is quite literally comprised of parts of the bodies of these human ancestors.
Watching that now on the TV. Look at this. Tell them they're a go to collect. All right. You got the fossil, huh?
It appears, based upon the context that we have discovered this incredible assemblage of hominid fossils in, is that they were deliberately placed there by their next of kin after death. Homo naledi was doing something that until this moment we thought was unique to modern humans. That is, deliberate disposal of the dead. If this hypothesis holds true, that's an extraordinary thing. What Naledi has taught us is that there is clearly more out there that we didn't know.
And we got Black people that's claiming that that's the cradle of civilization because they done found an ape-looking thing that might have some color and melanin on it, an ape-looking thing called Lucy. And that may very well be the ruins or the area of the first animal-like man, a mankind, a man-like being on this earth, where we know that there's Croatia, there's Neanderthals, there's been other men on this earth, Black or white, that's not even an issue. But Adam and Eve, Adam and Hawa, the first human being that was created in the image of Elohim, that's a whole nother story. So when we talk about Eden, let's be clear, they were angels from heaven, and heaven and earth was united in one dimension at that time. And if you want to understand more about it, go back to my lesson, No Rapture, No Wings, in the part where I talk about heaven on earth. And so from the beginning, they will be the same in the end. And that is the same history and science that they came and said that they cracked the genetic code and traced the line of man and all of this. And now, you know, everybody got a whole doctrine of who is Israel from E1B1 and E1B12 and J and Haplo and this group. And this is a bunch of foolishness, y'all. And the Bible also says, you know, don't have debates on endless genealogies. They just they're going to gender a war, right? And it has nothing to do with your salvation, nor is it the way by which Yah determines who's Israel. But yet you got people trying to tell you that the white man has deceived us, but everything that you are fighting with is the white man's information. Doesn't make any sense. So where is Eden? Eden is a mystery. Now, I'm not going to deal necessarily with where is Eden. I'm going to do that in a part 2. So I want y'all to understand that this is going to be a series of teachings, right? So we're not going to go through these maps today. We're going to do that in the next lessons as I tear down and show the deception in all these maps that people are posting up and reprinting and exegesing themselves and reading an excerpt here, and they give you a clip of a map here and there, and they don't show you where it's coming from altogether or the whole map altogether, right? Now, but this off top, you can't see it clear, right? It says the ancient world, and then it says Africa, Eden. Now, I forget what book this came from, but you can see Holy Mount Zion is the title of this, whoever drew this map. Now, off bat, I'm an artist. Yes. Jack of many trades, I'm an artist. Anytime you see somebody draw Africa that looks so perfect like that, as in what they see right now based upon Google, This is not an ancient map. This is somebody that took a prototype from something else off of something recent. The fact that this is shaped like this lets you know that this map is very brand new. And the print lets you know that somebody created this print. But I remember this map, y'all. I remember this map, and I believe that I had a copy of it. And I believe it might have been like, maybe through the Jehovah's Witness or something like that. I don't remember who printed this thing. But Holy Mount Zion, this is the point of this map, right? Right, so it says the map of, I don't know what that says, and of the ancient world. So I don't know what that word says. It looks like an N, something, right? Africa. But if you was to see it clearly, it's giving you a table of the nations. It's giving you a table of the nations. As you can see clearly, this is the land of what? Ham. Y'all can read that, right? The land of Ham. What's up here? What that say? The land of Japheth. What would that be? The isles of the Gentiles and the European nations, right? And over here, it says what? Shem. Exactly. Shem. And then if you got an eye to see, what does this say right there? And what is this pointed to? What does this look like to you? Right there in the land of Shem, Northeast Africa. It says New Jerusalem. And it's pointing down right here to what? A mountain that's sitting where? In the land of Shem, in the borders of Israel. So whoever drew this map is not intended to deceive anybody. They may have a concept of man being here before Israel, right? Because Israel is the last nation. Do you know that every nation had already succeeded in their lands, in their countries, and their population before Israel? That we was born out of Egypt. We was not a nation yet, but Ham, Canaan, all of that already had their nations. They already did. We was the last baby nation born. So whatever this map is being used for now is deception. Eden. We're going to go into that word, the next one. This word Eden, right? It's an adjective. And I'll show you in the scripture where Yah uses this word Eden a lot. And it just off top, it means any place that grows very fruitful in trees, green, and is well watered. Is the term for Eden in the physical sense. A luxurious place where it has lots of resources, not gold and silver and oil. Resources as in trees, greenery, fruits, vegetables, and water. And I'm going to prove that by the Bible, that anyone will name anybody Eden that has found a location that is fruitful. It's something that people look at my Garden of Eden. That's like going in somebody's backyard. They got, you know, waters going through. Look at all the fruit trees. Look at my Garden of Eden. Right? And then this map, we'll talk about it. This is once again, look at the shape of Africa. It's not an ancient map. It's not an ancient map at all. And we know the work of the guy that did this. And we're going to talk about that in another time, because this is somebody's work on top of somebody's work. It's not fact. Now, once again, I'm not here to deny that the children of Israel were scattered to the four corners of the earth. A lot of us went into Africa, but not all of us. We got scattered everywhere where the world empire had taken over our lands, and we got scattered through slavery. Most of us went through slavery. The ones that scattered into Africa were the ones that was fleeing from the slavery through Egypt. So our scattering mostly took part in the lands, in the nations, and the empires that conquered us. And that was in Europe. That was in Asia. Now, Africa being a conquered land through colonialism is something that only took place. I'm talking about all of this Africa, West Africa, South Africa, is something that only took place after during the Ottoman Empire, and now that transferred into the British Empire. The British Empire. Before that, There's a whole nother history, and you will see in history, which is undeniable. When I show you that this is foolish, what people are saying is undeniable. Do I believe that our people are still in Africa? Yes. Do I believe that whole full tribes are of the tribes of Israel? No. That's not biblically sound. Do I believe that Israel sold Israel into slavery? No. That's not biblically sound anything at all either. Do I believe that most of the scattered that fled through Africa ended up in America, in the Americas? Yes, through the British Empire and colonialism. I don't believe that all of these tribes that's claiming to be Israel right now are Israel. They have been lied to, and they are taking on a lying, prideful, false history as themselves. Okay? Give me 1 second. All right, so they tell you that there's a conspiracy, we've been lied to. You got people like Black to Africa saying stupid stuff, y'all, that don't make no sense. And this is one of the things that make me so clear who's an agent right now. Everybody that's pushing this is an agent. They're agents of Satan, and they're agents of this government to thwart you. And if not, then they Canaanites and Hamitic people that really want your inheritance anyway. So don't forget, once again, that y'all talked about how he would remove the Canaanites from amongst us, that they won't what? Vex us any longer. So we know that Ephraim and Judah, there's a vexing between themselves, but within that, we got Canaanites that have infiltrated us, that's vexing us as well. How do you tell the difference? Because before Edom, Canaan was very upset and wanted our inheritance as well. And Canaan still wants our inheritance. Y'all more upset with Edom than you upset with Canaan. How does that make any sense? When Edom was supposedly your twin brother, but you would side with a Canaanite quicker than you would with an Edomite that's doing the law and keeping the commandments and serving Yah, and don't hate you. You'll side with a Canaanite in the beginning. And don't think that Canaanites is not working their work to thwart the very elect from reaching their destiny and their goal for their inheritance. So we definitely got agents. All these that put, because these are intelligent men. So I know they're not that stupid, but they stupid to do wise, intelligent to do evil. That's how I know they're agents. We got Deborah Watchman starting to push this now too, but anyone that's pushing this and don't believe in the come out message, that don't even make no sense. Everybody tomorrow was a student of Pastor Darby, but what he was pushing identity and Africa. And y'all took it up, and he was sent, y'all, that he was an agent. Oh, I guess I'm gonna offend a lot of people with dead Pastor Darby. He was teaching Pan-Africanism mixed with identity. And this nigga ain't never left the land. That's backwards. Please, some of y'all stop teaching me, sending me Pastor Darby's teachings that sound similar to mine, but it ain't mine, right? To think that we of the same spirit. I mean, no, we not. He might have said some bold things, but he didn't have no assembly where he could make sure it wasn't happening in his assembly. So please stop sending me his strong teachings that sound as strong as mine. They not. They just words. Right? I'm not going to deny a good teaching, but no, we don't come from the same school of thought. He was a Christian that was pushing Pan-Africanism, Garveyism with identity. But there's no different than the Nation of Islam, pushing that they the people of the book with a whole different religion and a whole different landmass and a whole different way of life. Everybody's pushing that. Just because they say we the people of the book, their practices don't line up. Their religion don't line up. Their way of life and their speech don't line up to Torah. So it's not the people of the book. They're just pushing identity. And don't think that the Africans all this time, knowing good and well, when they looked in that book, they knew that they was the Hamitic, Canaanite, Girgasite, Jebusite people. They knew good and well that they was them people. Now y'all done got over here and let these Africans hoodwink y'all with identity and then pick up their cars and go back to Africa and tell them who they are. All right. By this time, some of y'all might have turned me off. Well, good riddance. This is for the elect. The rest of y'all could take y'all African booty scratching, Canaanite, boogalooga, naked behind, scratching your balls, back to the bush of Africa, and let's see what happens when the go down goes down. All right. So, why did I decide to take this up now? Because TEOTW got on my nerves. And he opened up my eyes to see what this Negro was pushing. I didn't know nothing about him like that until he decided to mention my name. Once again, I did not go after TEOW ever. He was not on my radar. Though I know that he, like I said, he was a boogaloo man. He's an agent. But when one of my evil old rebels that's scamming for money, and it looked like she got him by the balls right now, so now he got to collect money for her, right? I thought you said T3 and me was taking care of it.
And then I wanted to ask you about, I was listening to your show, I think it was yesterday, about the young lady that's stuck in
Turkey.
In Turkey, yeah. So how do we give to her or help her? I mean, is there anything we could do to like support that?
I mean, right now, she's talking to T3 and me, and they're helping her relocate. So, you know, you all could talk to them, their ministry.
And who is T3 and me?
Yeah, that's Sister Siobhan and her husband Tim.
Okay.
And yeah, they're part of the Dry Bones Project.
The Dry Bones Project, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Right, and you didn't really want to mention her no more because I know what's going on. It's all getting back to me. Now you got to raise money for her, because if you don't, she gonna go on somebody else's and not lie on you, tell the truth, right? But lie. That woman like exaggerate. They didn't help me. They didn't do nothing. They just sent me from one person, sent me from one number to the rest. I know the whole situation, and when the time comes, I'm gonna continue to prove it, and that she is banking right now on y'all. She's doing the same thing she did, acting like she ain't got no money. Now, any of y'all believe that her retirement didn't come in when I just showed you that she got her retirement last year? It don't work like that in America. That's right. She got her retirement, y'all, and some. She's not stuck in Turkey. She went and bought a flight herself, transported herself to Turkey, and the same way she transported herself there, she's been living there for the past 3-4 months in a nice apartment, I would assume, eating well, doing her thing, sitting back, 3 o'clock in the morning, making cake, watching TOW and me and everybody else to see who she could scam, hoping that somebody else mentions her name and asks for money for her, while she sit back and just make cake off of your money. While she's saying she's still trying to get to Africa, y'all, all she gotta do is buy a ticket. There's no more COVID. What she's looking for is the person that's going to take total responsibility for her. And that's why TO now is like, we just gonna raise money for her, right? I thought when she first talked about her situation and he talked about her situation, did it have anything to do with, oh, she don't have her pension, she don't have no money? Did you hear anything about she didn't have any money? All you heard was that she got left behind. Now it's about she don't got no money. She's stuck in Turkey, y'all. That's a bunch of foolishness. But we'll talk about that. Let's move forward. So because he did that, I was like, all right, well, then I'm going to use TEOTW, Yakoba, as my whipping boy for the one pushing the seat. Now, he's not the only one pushing this. Ronald Dalton is pushing this. Does it make any sense? He said, right, in his interview that somebody asked him why he went to South Africa, right? I might cue up his hand, so we'll see, right? Because every time he see me do a video and I call out what he say, he go back and clip off what I repeated what he said. I'm gonna prove it, right? So he said he went to South Africa because he was like, why not? This is a better place for his Really? South Africa? What difference is South Africa than America? In fact, if America ain't Jewland, South Africa is the second place where Jews are populated and have taken. What? So you got out of America because you running from Edom and the oppression of Edom, and you went to South Africa, where the people is more oppressed, if not as much as us. Land stolen, and Europeans and Jews also run that country. The gold and the diamonds go through South Africa, y'all. I know personally, I know people that work in South Africa, Jews, Israelis. They hand in hand with South Africa. And that's where you go. Does that make any sense, y'all? That's where he flees to. Is that the promised land? Is that the borders of the Bible? Is that a safer place for him than America? Absolutely not. He gonna find out. He gonna find out. But that's not why he went to South Africa. He went to South Africa because Ghana failed. You still need the vaccine to get into Ghana, so those doors was closed. That's what he was pushing, Ghana, Pan-Africanism, knowing good and well that that wasn't the borders. And his idea of Ezekiel's dry bones coming together was everybody being online together and trading money through business. I got the recording. If he keep removing his stuff that's open, I'm gonna use the recording. We got it, don't we? Yes, Ron, we got it. And a young man questioned you about what kind of nation you think we building in Africa when we spread out all over Africa just because we got YouTube, Zoom, StreamYard, and you can send money through via PayPal. When he got how many, seven begging GoFundMe pages in the thousands, 7 GoFundMe pages, and he probably got more than that because he takes it down, puts the act like he never reached his goal, so he can just keep. It's the new scheme of the church, y'all. And basically, his idea is just business. And the guy said, brother, I have no disrespect, but this don't make no sense because now we are more spread out than we are on the continent of America. And the infrastructure in Africa, as far as internet, computer, banks, credit card, visas, right, cards and all of this stuff, and online the infrastructure is nowhere near as good as it is in America. And we can have blackouts all the time or anytime in Africa. And that's the end of our so-called community. Don't make no sense. So we know that Ronald Dalton is pushing this, and TEOW is hanging on his balls, right? He's hanging on his balls. Wherever Ronald runs and does, he's behind Ronald with his scheme. We're gonna bust out TEOW and Yakoba's scheme of money. Once again, I keep telling you that the scheme that they playing is the classic old African scheme that they don't own the land, y'all. They don't have the deed to the land. They don't have the deed. So what they are doing is subleasing through a business, but the deed is in the name of the realtor that they so-called bought the land from with your money while they sell it back to you. Now, because I forced them out, I outed them out and forced them because they got to do what? Damage control to make me look like I'm lying on them. They what? Now letting you know that they got land, right? Ain't did nothing on this land. Now he building a little fence with the African people act like he doing something, right? So they gotta do damage control. TEOW is telling his 2 boys or 3 boys, his gangsters, how to damage control what I've said. But by doing that, it's outing them even more. It's forcing them to really see what's going on, because how long could they really lie to you and collect your money without letting you know what's really going on? So now they showed you that they got the land, but I'm telling you, you don't have the deed to the land, neither do they. So you can be kicked off that land. So now they know that since they came out with the land, everybody is calling like, can I get some of that land? You said it only costs $300 for some acres, right? Can I come to the land? And they know good and well they can't do it. Why? Because it doesn't secure them. It doesn't secure them, right? So now they know that they got to put out the how do I say, the vetting process now. You have to have an established business and a certain amount of business. Why? Because you can only get your residency in Tanzania if you own a business. So it's not even about buying the land. The land means nothing to you if you don't have a business. So it's out in there. You can see that what happened to this, I'm helping the people for a soft landing. This is only those that got business and rich with money, Wall Street. This leaves out the poor and the needy. All right. And maybe you're not poor, but what can you do if you don't have a business? And how does business help Black people? Tell me. It only helps the person that gets the money from the people. You're the seller, you're the buyer, they're the seller. So we know TEOTW is pushing this. And if you listen to his schizophrenic ideology, it doesn't make sense. He'll tell you that he believes Negro land is the true promised land, but I told you what I truly believe. I believe it's in Ethiopia, but I think it might be in South Africa, right? He's so schizophrenic, he's just leading you all over the place. And the people that truly following him is schizophrenic too. Y'all crazy. And no, I'm not trying to open your eyes, but I do believe that there is a remnant. There is a remnant, a few of y'all that might be in there that might be truly searching. You're just deceived and you're a little stupid. And so stupid follows stupid. I'm gonna help you out today. I'm gonna educate you, what your preachers never did. They should have did this, right? And we have Go Black to Africa. He's an agent, straight up. He's an agent, y'all. Now he wants to push the African maps, and he's all up in the awakening. And this Negro is nothing but a Pan-African, is free, do what you want to do. This Negro has changed his religion 50 times in the last year. He don't have a religion, he don't have a faith. He believe in the Bible, he don't believe it. He believe in Messiah, he don't believe in Messiah. He believe that we Africans, he believe with the people of the book. Which one? He never denied Israel before, neither did Ron, and neither did TO. Now they do, because they have an agenda. What? Is to get you into Africa. They are agents to thwart you. And I told you from the beginning, you can go back to my first prophecy, come out of my people. I told you why not to go to Africa, that Africa is a fox trap. But to have a fox trap, you need what? Foxes. Who's the foxes? The people that have trickled in there before you, foot on the ground to lead you and show you lies, to show you a fake Garden of Eden, like they got things going on. Ain't no water in that land, ain't no. They got little dry bushes, trees that you can grow in the desert, y'all. And other people are starting to push this now. Okay? Now, why is this important right now? Why am I dealing with this now? Is it just because I want to get back at TEOTW? No, I'm gonna get on him. I'm just beginning. He called my name, right? Thank you very much. Yes, you got lots of views of people thumbing you up for getting on me, but that is going to, right? I'm gonna get the last laugh on that. Now, over 10,000 people know my name. Now, it's a bad name for now. They think I've done something to some old little lion stealing lady, but that is gonna come to fruition in a short amount of time. Watch it. And then people gonna go back and be like, that's the woman that TEOW had talked about, and they showed my face and my name and said she was a snake and all of this. Let me go back. Let me go back and listen to what's going on. It's only a matter of time. Thank you, TEOW. Right? So my name is negative now, but y'all's already told me that's what is going to have to happen. In the end, they're going to turn around when y'all don't have true answers and seek for the one that you slandered. That'd be me. Right? So you can continue to call my name TEOW, but I'm gonna continue to call yours. I'm about to bust you all out and show who you really are to the people. I'm gonna show the people who you really are. Times two. This is just the beginning, but I want you to know that I'm going to be inviting TEOW. He's gonna be my special guest on this video and the next one and a couple of the next ones. So me and TEOW are gonna have a wonderful conversation about this. He's my special guest. Fair use. Fair use. And as time goes on, and this Miss Emilie, I'm waiting to see where she end up, and we're gonna get you. All right. And I'm gonna show you that this was another money scandal off of my name. This was to get money off of slandering my name. So why is this important? Not because TEOW is pushing it now. It's important because the elect is getting caught up in this, lies, and they think the more that people holler this, the more people believe it, and that's true. The more somebody keep hollering something, is the more that people start to believe it, right? And so, you know, their method is to drown me out, but I'm gonna keep hollering it. And so let me show you why this is important, because it has everything to do with your gathering, your return, and prophecy, right? The map conspiracy. Let me assure you right now, there's no map conspiracy. That is not a conspiracy. That is a conspiracy amongst black devils now that want your money. Stop acting like Satan don't work through the black man, y'all. Please stop acting like Satan don't work through melanated people that look like you and me. 2nd Baruch 29. Now, some of these are extra canonical books. 2nd Baruch and 2nd Esdras is in the pseudepigrapha. They are recognized to a certain degree in the Apocrypha and the pseudepigrapha. You may not recognize them, but I do. But 2nd Baruch and Esdras only concur with the Bible already says. So we are going to do a Bible lesson. But this is why it's important, why I got to challenge this right now, why I got to beat this lie down. 2nd Baruch 29, chapter 29, verse. And Yahweh answered and said to me, that which will happen at that time bears upon the whole earth. He's talking about the end time prophecies and destruction. Therefore, all who live will notice it. Everyone that's alive will notice what is going to happen to the whole world. For at that time, I'm in 2, for at that time, I shall only protect those found in this land at that time. That would be in the borders of Israel, proper, true Israel, not the state of Israel, the borders that the Bible mapped out. Baruch, who is Jeremiah's scribe and secondhand prophet, has been told by Yahweh and wrote it to you that everyone is going to be affected by what is going to happen in the end times. However, all that is found in this land will be what? Protected. And it will happen that when all that which should come to pass in these parts have been accomplished, the anointed one will begin to be revealed. I like the way he uses the word begin, because that's the same thing that it says in Matthew's. Then you will see the sign of the Son of Man, right? The sign of the Son of Man is the beginning of his revealing. It's not the full revelation of him. 2nd Baruch, chapter 71:1 reads like this. And the Kodesh, the Holy Land, will have mercy on its own and will protect its inhabitants at that time. That's Revelations. And the earth helped the woman, right? And swallowed up the army. At that time, this is our land that we are connected to. So, and it is a spirit, and it knows its children. And a mother protects its own. But this land is connected to what? The covenant. The birthing is the covenant of the father. The mother is the what? The land of the promise. It's connected. It will protect its own. Africa won't protect you. I'm in 2nd Esdras, chapter 9 and 7. Some will escape destruction and be saved by their good work or by their faith. All of them will survive the dangers I have described and will enjoy the salvation provided in the land that I have set apart from eternity as my own. So whatever that land is Yah's land, where he put his eyes on, that he set apart, made holy from eternity. I'm in 2nd Esdras, chapter 13, verse 47. And the Most High, Yahweh El Elyon, will stop the channels of the river again, talking about the Euphrates, and stop the channel of the river again, so that they may be able to pass over. Therefore, you saw the multitude gathered together in peace. So this is our gathering. But those who are left of your people, the remnant, who are found within my borders, shall be saved. 49, therefore, when he destroys the multitude of the nations that are gathered together, he will defend the people who remain. That's the remnant, the 144,000 in the wilderness. 50, and then he will show them very many wonders. This is why I'm doing this today. It was never a question where the borders of the land was until we had devils rise up with their schemes and deceive the people with false information, false geography, false maps, or it's not necessarily that the maps are false. Well, some of them are false, man-made maps, but false doctrines or their own spiel on what they explain it. And we're going to uncover some of the lies today. And I said, once again, we are welcoming and inviting Yakoba from TEOTW Ministries to join us in this conversation. He will be here with me on the screen, right, to talk this over. Stay tuned. So I want to let you know the order of this, right? Because I might break this up in two. The first portion of this, I'm going to go through Genesis, biblical geography, and some basic history that you don't need to be a great historian. You don't need to go and do your great research to know that this is the truth, y'all. You don't need that. By no means does y'all require you to be some great historian to research maps 50, 100, 200, 1,000 years old and stuff, 2,000 years old. Be able to read them because y'all can't even read Google, right? And decipher other languages. And you got to pay, right, $10,000 for the map and stuff like y'all would not require you. Nor is there a scheme in the Bible where y'all says we would lose our knowledge of where the land is. But he does talk about that there will be those that what? Cry and sigh, asking, where's the way to Zion? And I never really understood why asking where's the way to Zion until now, because we have people misleading people about where Zion truly is and following them. Okay, so we're gonna this is where TEOW is going to join us, but this will be at the end of the first part. This is the second part of the lesson. I might break this up and put it in the next video. Haggadah, the true land of Israel by TEOTW Ministry. So he's going to be joining me to talk about this map. Okay, so we're gonna bust this out about where is the land of Israel according to Haggadah map. Okay, I thank you for joining me, TEOW, and I look forward to that conversation. But before we invite TEOW, he's waiting on the YouTube, he's waiting in the back. Before we invite him on to talk about the lies of the Haggadah and where is the land of Israel, once again, we're going to go through some simple stuff. And this is only round one. I want y'all to know that. And this round one is the knockout. I want you to know that once I do this lesson, if you got any common simple sense, you should know, close your ears and stop listening to the rest. Once again, I'm not here denying that our people were scattered to all the corners of the earth. We were scattered into Europe. We were scattered into Iraq and Iran, scattered into India, scattered into Africa, and scattered into the Americas. I do not doubt that. I'm not talking about our scattering. I'm talking about where we're supposed to be gathered. Okay. So we're going to start from Genesis and Love. This is Bible geography 1. But it's not even 101, y'all. That's a lot. That's 100 plus 1. This is simple. We don't need to add. Well, 1 plus 1. This is Bible geography 1 plus 1. Even a child can understand this. right? So in Genesis 11, I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but the first portion is talking about the Tower of Babel. And so this is the beginning of Bible geography. First, you have to determine where is the Tower of Babel and where is Babylon. That's number one. To find a space, you have to have at least what? 2 points, even 3 to make it 3-dimensional. Point 1 in geography is you got to have a starting point. Why are we talking about the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11? Right? And then it goes from talking about the Tower of Babel, where the whole civilization, right? Why? Because the whole civilization, the new world from Shem, Ham, and Japheth was spread from that center. That is the center of civilization by humankind, not Neanderthal man, monkey ape man, E. coli, Ebola, Lucy, Neanderthal, Croatia man, other mans. This is the cradle of humane Adam civilization, wherever the Tower of Babel is. So we need to find out where that is. Then he goes into the genealogy of Shem to Abraham. There's a reason why he goes from the Tower of Babel to Shem to Abraham. And then he goes into Terah's descendants. Okay? So why are we talking about Terah? Well, y'all don't believe in the extra canonical books, but I believe in the Testament of Abraham. It will give you a little bit more of the explanation about the story of Terah. But as it goes, as it stands, it does not negate what the Torah says, is that Terah was one of the top generals in the Babylonian army. And so it goes from Terah to Ur of the Chaldees, which Ur of the Chaldees was the center where the military base was located in Babylon. Babel was the center, but Ur of Chaldees was the military base where Babylon's army was procured. In 27. Now, this is the history of the generations of Terah. Terah became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran became the father of Lot. Haran died in the land of his birth in Ur of Chaldees. So the next thing is to understand, where is the ancient Ur of Chaldees? It's important to know this. And then you have to find on this map, if you deny the history of where the Tower of Babel is and the Ur of Chaldees truly is, if you are in total denial of that, then you're going to have to show me on this map where Ur of Chaldees and Babel is in Africa. Because whatever we're about to talk about the land, is starting from that point. Okay? While his father Terah was still alive, Abraham and Nahor married wives, and the names of Abraham's wife was Sarah, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah, the daughter of Haran, who was also the father of Ishka. Sarah was barren. She had no child. 31. Terah took Abraham his son, Lot, and son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarah, his daughter-in-law, his son's Abraham's wife. They went from Ur of Chaldees, right? So the word is Or Chasdim. Or Chasdim, right? To go into the land of Canaan. So we have a point. Why are we starting off with Babel? Because wherever Babylon is, that is the location where Ur of Chaldees is. I'm going to prove that. And from that, it is connected, landlocked, to the land of Canaan. They came to Haran. Is Haran the land of Canaan? No, Haran is still the land of Babylon. And lived there. The days of Terah was 205 years. Terah died in Haran. Okay. So we want to determine where is Babylon, and Ur of Chaldees, Egypt, because that's the other border by which we can map this out, 2 points, and also Arabia. But Arabia will be one of my last points that I probably won't make in this lesson. Maybe I'll touch it, but I'll come back to it, right? All right. So, Bible history. Daniel's 4 beasts. Here is the argument that stops everything. If you're a true biblical believer, wherever the land of Israel is, including Jerusalem, the city, is located, right? It must be situated within the borders of all these empires. As well, the original borderlands of Israel initially being scattered. I don't know if that made any sense, right? So what I'm saying is that Daniel's 4 prophecies, prophecies about the 4 beasts, was about Jerusalem's scattering and Israel's scattering, and being sieged by these nations and taken over. So whatever these 4 beasts are, these are world empires. Now, prove to me that what I'm about to show you is not the true history about who and where these world empires were, dominated, and took over. Show me the lands, and then I'm gonna ask you to show me where do you see any of these world empires down all the way in Negro land and down here before the British and Ottoman Empire. I'm talking about Daniel's 4 beasts, right? Okay, we know we got the lion with 2 wings. What's that? Nebuchadnezzar, Babylon. Then we got the bear with 3 ribs in his mouth. What's that? Medo-Persia with 3 nations, right, in his mouth. I'm gonna show you who those 3 ones are. Scripture here tells you who those 3 nations are. So it's gonna make sense. Then you have the leopard with 4 heads and 2 wings. It's really part of ancient Babylon, right? It has 4 heads. This is Alexander the Great and his 4 generals. And then we have this, the dragon that people still think is Rome. And I say, and I'm not saying that it's not Rome. I'm saying that what your ideology of what Rome is not necessarily true. And that this beast is still yet to have come together. That the last beast in Revelations is a combination of all of these plus. Okay. All right. So 4 kingdoms of Daniel. Babylon in 606 BC, right? The head of gold is the lion with 2 wings, and that is Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar. Then we have Medo-Persia in 538 BC, 2 nations, Persia dominant, right? He's the breast with 2 arms of silver. And he's the bear with 3 ribs in his mouth. If you want to know who the 3 ribs is, I'll tell you real quick, but you can go back to my come out of her, my people. That is Libya, Put, and Egypt. Or Cush, right? That is Africa, Northeast Africa. So this empire has to have what? These 3 in his mouth. And this bear also is represented as the ram, right? Then we have the leopard with 4 wings and 1 head, belly and thighs of brass. This is Greece, 333 BC, under Alexander and his 4 generals, Antiochus the 4th, I believe. And he also is represented as the he-goat, right? And then we have the 2 legs of iron, which is the dragon, the monster, which is Rome as you know it, but 2 legs because Rome was divided into what? Eastern and the Western Empire. And then we have the future, who is really a conglomeration of all of these together. The last beast, 10 kings, right? A feet of iron and clay, 10 horns, great mountains, everlasting millennia of the kingdom, right? We haven't gotten there yet. This is what's happening now. All the wars you see now is the fight to see who's going to become these 10 kings. Okay? Do I tell a lie? Are you following me? Children in the word, bad at history, a C- and a D+ in your class. Is this, Y'all following me, right? But it's Bible too, right? This is not secret history, right? It's Bible and it manifested and it's world history because we're talking about world empires. And these empires know where they conquered and rule, right? So they're not lying on themselves to themselves about their dominion, right? Am I telling the truth? So wherever these nations and kingdoms were, the true borders of Israel is within them. And it has to be in all 4, not just 1, all 4. All right. So I'm going to give you this kind of a picture. This is the Babylonian Empire. This is called Mesopotamia. This is ancient Mesopotamia, which includes, this is the Euphrates River and the Tigris River. And this includes some of Iraq, Iran, Syria, and a part of Turkey, all the way down into Lebanon, Tyre, and Israel. This was the Babylonian Empire. And you can see what's right here. What's this? Current state of Israel and Jordan. Now, if anyone want, we're gonna go more into this, but it tells you that all the surrounding nations, as well as Jerusalem, was conquered. Ammon, Moab, and Edom was also conquered in the Babylonian takeover. What they did not, Babylon never had what? Africa. Egypt was a viable army against the Babylonian Empire and never could take over Egypt. And if you can't take over Egypt, you can't what? Get into Africa. You can't get in. So therefore, this is as far as the Babylonian Empire. So Israel automatically has to be where? Somewhere in these borders, right? Now watch. So we have the Babylonian Empire. Now we have the Medo-Persian Empire with 3 ribs in his mouth. So now it expanded from the Babylonian Empire. Medo-Persia is all of this, which is Iraq, Iran, all the way in Pakistan. And this is where the Elamites were. These are Shemitic people, into Persia, Afghanistan, even as far as India, up into Turkey, and all the way far into these islands here. This is all Turkey and Syria. And then it what? Comes in and it got Africa. And it got a little bit more of it because the 3 ribs was what? Put, Egypt, and Libya. That's what it got. That's these territories right here. It had 3 ribs in his mouth. Now we in Africa, but we still see where's the common ground? Right here, right? This is the common ground right here. Medo-Persia, deny that history. Before you look at anybody's so-called maps of so-called real Africa, real Israel, first you got to see if they deny this history, because then it doesn't add up. What are we talking about now? All right. And then we have the Grecian Empire that also took over our land, and it expanded further down into Africa. It basically took more of Europe and more of the East, right? So we can see it has the Babylonian Empire. It has the Medo-Persian Empire. It expanded a little further, right? It expanded further, or did it lose some? It expanded further into what? All up in here, which I believe is like Bologna. Where's this on the map today? I forget what these countries are. We'll see it on the map. No, Cyprus is right here. Albania. Right? So Greece expanded and took over the same African empires and expanded into Africa a little more. Now we have what? The Roman Empire. So the Roman Empire lost a lot of the East, right? And went more what? West, and took over what we call as the Isles of the Gentiles, all the way up into Britain, right? And then it expanded, and I believe that they expanded a little bit more down into Kush, but it had Egypt, Algeria, put Libya, all the way up here to Morocco, right? To the island, to the Spanish islands. The Roman Empire. These empires never infiltrated Africa any further than that. Tell me I'm a lie. Prove anything different. At best, you can see that they may have gone down a little bit into Kush, down here, into Sudan. Outside of that, there is no history of these empires ever conquering in Africa, except when the Ottoman Empire came into being and the British Empire, which is under the new term of colonialism now. And so you're not going to see no maps that's saying anything different about where the land of Israel is. These people knew where the land of Israel is because it was always the center of them conquering another empire. And wherever these nations had their empires is where we got scattered. Why they keep telling you that most of us fled into Africa, when you can clearly see in the New Testament that most of the tribes was where? In Europe. Some of us fled down in Africa. We always fled in Egypt. And yes, Egypt did not escape. So by the time they conquered Egypt, that caused us to do what? Flee further. So yes, some of us was in Egypt, and this is Jeremiah's prophecy from chapter 8, 9, 10 on, about how we went down in here and did what? The same wickedness. And so you're not going to escape the wrath of Yah, and he's going to cause you to flee further in. Right? But that's not all of Israel. A lot of us was in Europe, and we continue to get scattered through slavery. And you thought you beat slavery by going into Africa, but then the Ottoman Empire came and got you behind. The Black Moors, why y'all keep forgetting that the Black Moors was a part of all of this? Y'all just want to talk about the Jews, but what about the Black Moors that showed them where your behind was at? Showed them how to make ships, showed them how to get around to the shores, right? And so these were the first map makers. Black Moors, were they your people? No. All right. The Grecian Empire, the Roman Empire. Show me any different. Now, so you can see the progression. This is Africa, the Horn of Africa, the back of his big old African head right there. And this is the land of Babylon, and Israel is right here. Yes, little old Israel. From the Babylonian to the Medo-Persian to the Grecian to the Roman. That's the end of the argument right there. Y'all know that, right? That should be the end of the argument. And I might just do that by itself. Be like, game over. This is world history and it's biblical history, and you can't disprove it or change it. You're not going to show no maps that say anything else. Wherever, I must come back to my first point. Wherever the land of Israel is within the borders of all of these empires. Once again. And then we have Western Rome divided from Eastern Rome, which is Constantinople, right? From the European 10 nations here to Constantinople, which the Turks took over. And there was a divide. Okay, let me go back. This is a great map. When I found it, I was like, oh, yes, right? Because we people that like to see. Let's be clear. There we are. This Africa, this is so-called Negro land. This is so-called Ethiopia, Sudan, down in here, and Sheba and all of that. But this is where these empires took over, biblically, where we got scattered and taken over from. Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Roman, and then to the Western Rome divided. And we know that we were in the eastern parts, which is these borders right here. All right, Constantinople. We was not in Rome. The seed of Satan wasn't in the Western division. When Paul and the apostles was in and out, and they were looking for what? The lost tribes, they were in these parts, in Turkey, which was a part of the Roman Empire. Okay. Game over, but let's continue. Let's continue. So Babylon also is where? Right here. That's where the Tower of Babel was. That is the cradle of civilization. You're not going to show civilization, mankind in Africa, in South Africa, where Lucy was found. You're going to see black, Chinese, monkey, short, pygmy people climbing trees and don't have a clear language, doing sounding like monkeys and animals. This is the cradle of civilization of humankind, where Adam and his seed sojourned and spread out from the Akkadian and Sumerian empires that became also known as Mesopotamia, ancient Mesopotamia. Civilization did not start in Egypt. Everything Egypt and Sudan has came from ancient Mesopotamia, the Akkadian people, Sumerian people, and other tribes. And these are Shemitic tribes in general. Babylon is Shemitic people. Okay? So now we're going to continue. The of Chaldees and Babylon. That's our first starting point. Where is Babylon, Egypt, and Arabia? Okay. So now I'm going to show you biblically also that Babylon is wherever of Chaldees was. Isaiah 48:14, assemble yourselves, all of you, and hear. Who among them has declared these things? He whom Yahweh loves will do what he likes to Babylon, the Tower of Babel, and his arm will be against the Chaldees, the army of Babylon. Now, this is future prophecy. Obviously, there was no America. There was no American army. There was no Canada and France, all right? So he's using these terms, right, as Babylon was what? A tree that would be cut off to the stump, but will remain until the very end. So every empire is what? A part of the Babylonian Empire. Why do you think America took over Iraq and Iran for the oil? Who had control of the oil in Iraq and Iran that became a world superpower? America, through the war of oil, right? And the army became big because of it, right? So even though this is future prophecy, is referring to ancient Babylon, leave Babylon, flee from the what? Chaldeans. So Ur of Chaldees, which was the army base of Babylon, Mesopotamia, is in Babylon. Jeremiah 22 and 25, I will give you into the land of those who seek your life, and into the hand of them whom you are afraid, even into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Prove to me that Nebuchadnezzar is an African king in South Africa. The history of Nebuchadnezzar is written in stone, y'all, and all of these histories was found where? In Mesopotamia, not in Africa. Nebuchadnezzar, this is recorded history by their own people in Sumeria, ancient Mesopotamia. King of who? Babylon, and into the hand of Chaldeans, his army. So, Jeremiah 21 and 1, the word which came to Jeremiah from Yahweh, the king Zedekiah, sent to him. So King Zedekiah was the last king, right? At where? Jerusalem, king of Judah, right? Sent to him Pashur, and the son of Malchijah, and Zephaniah, the son of Maaseiah, the priest, saying, please inquire of Yahweh for Zedekiah. Did I skip? Please inquire for Yahweh us for what? Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, makes war against us. So Jerusalem got sacked by King Nebuchadnezzar, who was from Babylon, Ur of Chaldees, where Terah, Abraham's father, came from. Y'all notice his hands down, right? Y'all know this, right? Makes war against us. Then Jeremiah said to them, tell Zedekiah, Yahweh, the Elohim of Israel says, behold, I will turn back the weapons of war that are in your hand, with which you fight against the king of Babylon and against the Chaldeans, who besiege you outside the walls, and I will gather them in the middle of the city. So Jerusalem got sacked by Babylon. Let's go back to the map. This is Babylon, and this is Jerusalem. All right. Where was I? I'm in 9. He who remains in the city will die by the sword, by famine, and by pestilence. But he who goes out and passes over to the Chaldees who besiege you will live. He said what? Surrender. So some of us didn't surrender, some left, but we went where? Where did we get scattered? Into Africa? No, into Babylon. And he will escape with his life. Show me anything different. Because you talk about Ezekiel's prophecies, but Ezekiel spoke from those great rivers. All right. Bible history 1. How y'all let somebody like these, like him, like this, sit up there and pretend like they great scholars and deny history like that and biblical history right in front of your face? Has your pastors not taught you anything? Have you not read? So this is ancient Mesopotamia. We're going to trace the journey of Abraham. Prove now any different that this is where he started from. This is where Ur of Chaldees was, right? This is the Arabian, what they call the Persian Arabian Gulf, right here. Ur of Chaldees was right here, and this was ancient Mesopotamia, ancient Sumeria and Akkadian. When Babylon became a great nation, it now conquered the land and the borders of Israel and Jordan. All of this. This is where Abraham started from, Ur of Chaldees. Okay, right here. So now let's read a little wiki. Babylon was the capital city of the ancient Babylonian Empire, which itself is a term referring to either of 2 separate empires in Mesopotamia area in antiquity. These two empires achieved regional dominance between the 19th and 15th century BC, and again between the 7th and 6th centuries BC. The city, built along both banks of the Euphrates River, has steep embankments to contain the river's seasonal floods. This is why that land was called Eden. That river that watered between the Tigris and Euphrates caused that land to be plenteous with green growth, trees, and fruits and gardens. Now it is more like a desert land. And Africa also went through changes like this, right? Where was I? Has steps, embankments to contain the river's seasonal floods. The site of the ancient city lies just south of the present-day Baghdad, where I just pointed. Baghdad. The earliest known mention of Babylon as a small town appears on a clay tablet from the reign of Sargon of Akkad, the Akkadian Empire. Deny this, y'all. It's still in stone. From 2334 to 2279 BC of the Akkadian Empire. This is where the ancient Syrian and Hebrew language is connected to, not Boogalooga, Africa. Babylon was merely a religious and cultural center at this point, and neither an independent state nor a large city. Like the rest of Mesopotamia, it was subject to the Akkadian Empire, which united all the Akkadian and Sumerian speakers under one rule. After the collapse of the Akkadian Empire, the South Mesopotamia region was dominated by Gushan people for a few decades before the rise of the third dynasty of Ur. That was Ur of the Chaldees, which apart from northern Assyria, encompassed the whole of Mesopotamia, including the town of Babylon. The town became part of a small independent city-state with the rise of the first Babylonian Empire, now known as the Old Babylonian Empire, in the 19th century BC. The Amorite king, a Black king, Hammurabi, was not in Africa, y'all. We know about Hammurabi, right? His ruins, his code, his tablets was an Amorite king in ancient Sumeria, Mesopotamia. Founded the short-lived Old Babylonian Empire. In the 18th century BC, he built Babylon into a major city and declared himself its king. Hammurabi, y'all. You got to learn this in your American history. Southern Mesopotamia became known as Babylonia, and Babylon eclipsed Nippur as the region's holy city. The empire waned under Hammurabi's son, Samsu-iluna, and Babylon spent long periods under Assyrian, Kassite, right, and Elamite domination. Elam, which is what? One of the sons of Shem. After the Assyrians had destroyed and then rebuilt it, Babylon became the capital of a short-lived Neo-Babylonian Empire and Neo-Assyrian successor state from 609 to 539 BC, that is under Nebuchadnezzar and Sennacherib, and the Hanging Gardens of Babylon ranked as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. That's why they call it Eden. I'm gonna prove it in the Bible. Eden, right? Because of the gardens. Not because of gold, right? Ranked as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. After the fall of Neo-Babylonian Empire, the city came under the rule of Achaemenid, Seleucid, Parthian, Roman, Sassanid, and Muslim empires. The empires that I just talked about, right? Seleucid is the other, we're gonna talk about Seleucid versus Ptolemy. That's when the Greeks came in. Babylonian got conquered by the Medo-Persian, and Seleucid's dynasty is the Greco-Roman dynasty that split into 2 from the king of the north and the king of the south. We're gonna talk about that. Parthian and then Roman and Sassanid. I don't know what the Sassanid is. It was probably for the Ottoman Empire and then Muslim empires, right? The last known record of habitation of the town dates from the 10th century AD, when it was referred to as the small village of Babel, okay? And I think I had a picture of the Ottoman Empire. You can see Mesopotamia, it's always the center of it, right? So this is the Mesopotamian, once again, empire, right here. Moving on. Now, I'm going to do a little bit. I don't want to go too deep. Here are the websites for these maps. And you can see that I'm going as far back as these Negroes are trying to pull out maps to say something else. 1584, the Mercator map of Arabia based on Ptolemy. Ptolemy, right? Here's the map. Now you can't really see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow it up. And when I come back to this, I'm going to come back to this and we're going to go on the website so we can look clearer. And here's the website where you can find these maps and look it up yourself. But I don't know if you can see this right now. This is Arabia. This is the Persian Gulf, the Indian Ocean, and this is the Red Sea. And this is the land of Israel up here. And this is Arabia, and this is Petra, Jordan. Now I'm gonna give you a close-up. Here it is. So this right here is this, right here. Ain't no tricks here. I'm showing you the whole map so nobody gets tricked. What does that say? Arabia, Petra. That's Jordan, right there. This is the Red Sea, but it's not calling it that. And this is what? Arabia. All of this right here is Arabia. Arabia. Right? And this is what? This is where the Euphrates River is coming from, right here. We're going to come back to this, right? Here's another map, 1535, Laurent Fry's Ptolemaic map, right? Of the Persian Empire, Iraq and Iran. This is a map that is taken from Ptolemy's time. Here we are. Here's the Persian Gulf right there. Here's the whole map, and I'm doing a close-up. Here's the Persian Gulf right here. What do we see? Babylonia. Mesopotamia, right there. Right here. This is the Caspian Sea. This is Media, right? And this is Persia. Medo-Persia. This is Armenia going further up north into Turkey. This is Mesopotamia. Here's the Tigris River, and this is the Euphrates right here. Going all the way through. That's ancient Babylon, right here. Say it ain't so. All right. You can go back and back check me and fact check me. All right. Here's the link also to Ptolemy's world map. The Ptolemy world map is a map of the world known to Greco-Roman societies in the 2nd century. It is based on the description contained in Ptolemy's book, Geography, written in 150. Based on an inscription in several of the earliest surviving manuscripts, it is traditionally credited to Achathonemon of Alexandria. Do I do a close-up? No, we don't have a close-up. Let's see if we can help you understand where's what. If anyone got any sense of geography, where's the boot? That's Italy right there, right? So that means this is what? This is the Mediterranean Sea, right? So then that would be, this is what right here? Huh? Egypt, that's right. This is the Nile, and this is what? The Red Sea, and this is what? This is Arabia, and this is what? The land of Israel, right? And this is what? Persian Gulf, Euphrates. Why didn't I get a close-up on this? Let me see if I can, get a close-up. Okay, so what I did was that I enlarged it. As you can see, it's the same map, and I enlarged it to this area. Learn pictures, huh? Okay, I'm back and we had some technical difficulties. So let me go again. Here's the link. You can look it up. This is a Ptolemy map, and it's based upon the book, Ptolemy's book, Geography, written in 150, right? So here's the map. And if anyone can see, this is Egypt right here. So this would be Africa as they know it. You can see Ethiopia interior right there. Ptolemy would know because he had Africa, right? Ethiopia right here. So this is Africa, this is Egypt, and this is Libya, and put all up in here. So this would be Arabia, and it says Arabia right here. And you can see that Israel is up here, which would be the land of ancient Mesopotamia from here to here, and this is the Euphrates River. So I'm gonna go in close, but I don't want to spend too much time. You can go look this up, y'all. Like it's not a big deal, right? So now I enlarged it, and you can see the boot. This is how you could always know Egypt's river. There is something very distinct about the Nile River and its bank from the Mediterranean. Indistinguished, right? So you can see it says what here? Libya interior. It says here, Ethiopia interior, right? And this says Egypt right here. And you can see here, this says Arabia right here, Syria. And I can't really read that, but I sort of can read it. Guess what that says? Jerusalem. Now, if you don't believe me, you can go back and check it out. Go get a little close up, okay? And you can go back to the site and do a close up. And so I may go over these maps again, but once again, this is not by which I prove anything, right? I mean, Egypt is where it is. Arabia is important because that's a landmark. When I go into the prophecies about our gathering, you're going to see that because you read English and you haven't done the time to do your due diligence and you listen to ignorant teachers keep telling you don't listen to the Yiddish and talk about an African language that they themselves don't even know and become linguistic scholars, and they don't even know anything about not one of the language that they linguistic scholars in to transliterate, don't know. They can't read this stuff, y'all. They don't understand, right? There was a point I was about to make, I forgot, but it'll come back. I'm sure I'll make it again, right? So that's that. Now, let's continue on with the story. Leave your country. So he was in Babylon, Ur of the Chaldees, which is in the borders of Iraq and Iran off the Persian Peninsula Gulf, where Euphrates is starting or ending off from. And he moved to Haran, which is also in Mesopotamia. So it would indicate that he went further sort of northwest, right? Genesis 12, a calling of Abraham. 1, now Yah said to Abram, leave your country. So he must have been where? He was still in Syria. Leave your country and your relatives and your father's house and go to the land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who treats you with contempt. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you. So Abraham went as Yahweh had told him. So we know that Haran is not in the land of Canaan. Haran is above in the land of Mesopotamia, Syria. Lot went with him. So he separates from his father's house in Haran. Him and Lot goes together with their camp. Abraham was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Abraham took Sarah, his wife, Lot, his brother's son, and all the possessions that they had gathered, and the people whom they had acquired in Haran. And they went to go into the land of Canaan. They entered into the land of Canaan. Abraham passed through the land to the place of Shechem, to the oak of Moreh. And at that time, Canaanites was in the land. Yahweh appeared to Abraham and said, I will give you this land to your offspring. He built an altar there to Yahweh, who had appeared to him. He left there from there to go to the mountain on the east of Bethel and pitch his tent, having Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to Yahweh and called on Yahweh's name. Abraham traveled, still going on towards the south, right? Now, I'm going to go into the game that they keep playing. I'm going to find a clip where we have this so-called intelligent ex-military, ex-pastor for 20 years, ex-military for 20 years. What else he ex at? Ex-director and movie director, ex-this, ex-entrepreneur for 20 years, right? Go back to Africa. They got a lot to say. He says he has the wonderful marriage, but this Negro spent too much time making love to the YouTube than spending time with his wife and children who's never with him, right? While he traveling all over the place looking at sexy Africans for his son to go back to America to.
All right, we're going to take a look at that. Up versus down. Genesis 26, 22 to 23. How y'all let somebody lie to y'all like that?
Up means south, down means north, if anybody understands that.
Up means south, down means north, if anybody understands that.
Up means south, down means north, if anybody understands that.
All right, he's an agent. All right, so I want y'all to see that the word here that says south is negative. In the Bible, the word negative is describing a particular place. Negative can translate as desert. You can translate it as in south, but it only is in coordinates to where the land of Israel is. The term negative is not the typical word for south, but it is south of a location. The negative is another word for wilderness, and it's a very specific wilderness. That's why I had to determine where's Arabia, where's the negative. These are two distinct desert lands, okay? So we see that he goes from Syria, which would be up here, coming down into Shechem, from Shechem to Bethel. So Shechem right now is the ancient city of Nablus, which is in the West Bank, controlled by the Palestinians. In Nablus today, the ancient ruins are there. It's never been lost, y'all. It's still there. That is Shechem, right? And he went down to Bethel on the east side. So if you was to go straight down, you can see that he has to travel what? More east. But even though it's on the east side, it's on the west of Ai. This is Ai, and this is Bethel. And the reason why I'm just putting dots here, because I want you to see it in relation to where these cities are today. Where Jericho is here, Jerusalem is here. So this is where he goes to, from Shechem to Bethel. He is traveling from north to south. Otherwise, if you don't want to see it as traveling from north to south, then he traveled from south to north. That would mean he went further up where? Into Turkey and Russia. That would go against your whole argument. That would go against your whole argument. Now he's going into the Isles of the Gentiles. If he goes any further than where Mesopotamia is, he's in Turkey and Asia, the Isles of the Gentiles, going up to the Caspian Sea, into Gomer, into Russia, Gog and Magog. So we know it couldn't be that, okay? So we know that he's going from the north. Babel is the north country to the south, right? So let's trace his travels again. These waterways is the Euphrates rivers coming all the way out here, dumping off into Turkey. right? Syria, as we know it, is not these strict borders that they put, right? So he traveled from Chaldees, ancient Mesopotamia, from where the army base was, because Terah was the general of his army. He moved to his homeland, to Syria. It's all one place. It's not Syria, but it's Syria as we know it now. That's on the banks of somewhere around here. Now, where did I get this dot from? Where they tell you Haran is today, which is on the border of Turkey and Syria. From Turkey and Syria, from Haran, this is still ancient Mesopotamia. He goes down, this is still ancient Mesopotamia, into Canaan's land, into Shechem to Bethel, right here. So we can see his travels right there. If he was coming from here, he still was in somewhere around here when he went to Haran. Ancient Mesopotamia, you could say, is all of this. But if he went any other direction, he would have gone into Europe. Not Canaan's land, but Japheth's land. Now, we in Genesis 12. So there is a game that they are playing on this word south. Now they want to show you maps upside down and don't want to read the key where it tells you what north, south, east, and west is. We're going to do some of that. Genesis 12. So this is a Hebrew lesson. If you don't like it, you can call it Yiddish all you want, but that is written in this language. Genesis 12 and 8. And he left from there to go to the mountain of the east. The word here, the mountain of the east, is Makedim. There is another word for east in Hebrew, and I'm going to prove it in the Bible. Why are they using this word Makedim? Because this is describing the center of the beginning of civilization from the east. Makedim means from in front of, before time, right? Before time. So it's describing east in the sense that before time where the sun rises up, right? And pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west. So the word here for west is Mayam, but that word distinctly does not mean west. It is describing west in a particular location because the word Mayam means from the sea. From the sea. Mayam would be towards the Mediterranean. When Yah talks about the isles of the Gentiles, he uses the word Yameh, the islands of the Gentiles, which means the coast of the Mediterranean. And Ai on the east. There he built an altar to Yahweh and called on Yahweh's name, and Abraham traveled, still going onward towards the south. The word that is being used here for south is Ha-Negev, proper noun. Ha-Negev. So in the white, I'm showing you the words that is being used, right? It's using the word Ha-Negev for south, right? Anybody that knows geography, you gotta know your north, south, east, and west. East is always where the sun rises. West is always where the sun goes down. North is up, forward from your east to your west, and south is going down. That is geography 0. North, south, east, and west. South is down, north is up, east is to the what? Your right, and west is to your left. But the word that they're using means before time, meaning where the sun comes up. Mayam, meaning where the sun goes down, is called the Mediterranean. And Ha-Negev is the desert down. But in Hebrew, these words is not the only exclusive words that they use for proper north, south, east, and west. Here, the word is Mekedim that he's using. But Memizrach, is also from the east. The word Mizrahi, right? The Mizrahi Jews means what? Jews that have come from the Middle East or the East, as in Iraq, Iran, Lebanon, and Jordan and Syria. Mizrahi Jews, Jews from the East. That is the proper term for East, right? Then you have West. So it uses the word Meyan, which means towards the water. So that means that West has to be in a very distinct location for West to be towards the water, the Mediterranean coast. But the true word for West is Me'arev or Me'arav, from the evening. Arav comes from the word Erev, as in evening, where the sun goes down. It rises on the east and sets in the west, right? From evening. And then we have the word HaNegev that is described as south, but Negev is a distinct location. But the other two words for south is Daron. Daron is the word for south, is the true typical word for south, if it's just going to use south anywhere else. And if it's going to use HaNegev, it's only describing a particular landmass. And then it uses the word Temenah or Temen, which is also a particular area called Temen, and it also comes from the word Yemen. Yemen. You would know it as Yemen today, but I believe that Yemen is further down than where it was originally situated. And Yemen or Temen is is a name, a proper noun to describe south of Arabia, where Edom's land was. Temen was one of the dukes of Edom. So it's using that as south because Jerusalem, Israel, is always the center. And then Saphon. Saphon is north. Saphon, right? I believe that that word is linked to the root of the word Sephania, which means the treasure of Yah, the hidden treasures, right? So I'm going to show you that just reading north, south, east, and west and not looking at the word that they're using will get you caught up in thinking that you can just do your own biblical geography when the Bible is always speaking from the point of Jerusalem and what is located in these areas, okay? So HaNegev and Temen are very distinct places, and Yam, okay? So Abraham traveled, still going onward towards the south. That's what it reads. Now they're going to try to play with the other scriptures and not read you that. Towards the Negev. So he's traveling, going onwards towards the south, indicates that he's traveling from what? The north. But not just any north, Israel's north. So let me show you how these words are used in other places. Psalms 107:3, and gathered out of the land. He's talking about our gathering from the east and from the west and from the north and from the south. But the word is not south. No. Watch how this doesn't mean. It means seaside. The reason why he's not saying south is because this is not from Israel. This is about our gathering. So he's using different words. It says, Me'arsot, from countries. The word arsot means countries. Kibitzam, to gather, from kibbutz. Me mizrach. He's not using the word mekedem. Me mizrach, east. Where me arav. He's not using the word mayim because that means Mediterranean, the coastlands. But Arab just means west. But he's not talking about the coastlands. Look at what he uses the word west as in south. Mesafon, north, because it's the proper term for north, south, east. And he uses the word Memayim. And they translate it as south, but it doesn't mean south. Memayim means towards the Mediterranean coast. And that goes according to prophecy that we will be, those are the eyes of the Gentiles, that we're still in those lands. It doesn't mean south at all here. How could Mayim mean west? He uses the word Mayim for west here and uses the word Mayim for south here. Don't work. You got to learn your Bible geography. So when he's using these words, it's very distinct. When he's using these words here, it's very distinct to Israel being the center of what he's talking about. When he uses other words, they're either in parabolic, symbolic, or true north, south, east, and west from wherever he's speaking, right? So this is prophecy. He didn't say Maket. He didn't use Makedim, Mayim, and Hanegev. He uses Mizrach, Ma'areb, Aram, and Safon, and Mayim being south. But it's not, the word is not south. This is a misunderstanding. It's the seaside, the coast of the islands. All right, Deuteronomy 3:27. Get thee up into the top of Pisgah and lift up thy eyes westward, northward and southward and eastward, and behold it with thy eyes, for thou shalt not go over this Jordan. Who's he talking to? He's talking to Moshe. And Moshe is where? In Jordan, right? He's in Jordan. So look at the words that he used, right? Aneka Yama. He uses Yama for Mayim westward. So if he's at Jordan, he says, look over, where is he looking? Towards the Mediterranean, on the west side. He's looking towards west, and west of Jordan, the Mediterranean, the waters. Safon, right? Look the north. Look at the word he uses. Te mana, from the word temen, not Negev. Why would he use the word temana as opposed to Negev? Where is he from? Let me see if I put the map here. Where is he looking from? Okay, hold on. I should have put the map between everything. Here's Jordan. Here's Jordan, right? And we know, according to the story, that he crossed over into Jericho. That's where they stopped, right? Between Gilgal. They was over here above the Dead Sea. They weren't in the land of Edom any longer. They were in Ammon, right? Now he says, look over. So he's looking over from the Jordan. Where would he be looking? This way. That would be what? The water. He says, look north. That's Safon, right? And then he says, look, he didn't use the word Negev. He used the word Teman. Why? Because he's on this side of the bank. What is south? This is Teman. Teman is down here. Negev is on this side. The Negev is on Israel's side. This side of the wilderness is Negev, and on the east side, the wilderness is Teman, which is part of the Arabah. Does that make sense? Okay. Where was I? I was here, right? So he uses the word Temanya. And the reason why he uses Temanya and not Negev is because if he looks directly south, the wilderness that he's facing is Arabia, that is in Teman. Teman is in Arabia, directly south of him. The Negev is on the other side where he cannot cross over, right? And Mizrach, eastward, okay? But you will not cross over to Avar et Hayardan. So that is the perspective that he's looking from. That's why it's changing the words here. That's why it's not using HaNegev. Okay? Okay. Ecclesiastes 11, I'm still going to prove this point. And 3, if the clouds are full of rain, they empty themselves onto the earth. And if the trees fall towards the south or towards the north, in the place where the trees fall, there shall it be. So you can see here, your fool to fall the trees by Daron. Daron is now what they're using as proper south. Why is he using Daron? Because this is in no particular area. He's not talking necessarily from Jerusalem, but he's talking in general. Daron is the proper term for south. Daron. And Im Besafon, right? North. Daron and Safon means north and south. So if we was to be anywhere in the world, we would never use Negev. We would never use Temin. The only time we can use the word Negev and Temin for south is if we were in the Holy Land, within the borders, what they call the Middle East. If you're in America, you cannot use the term Temin or Negev. Is that clear? Y'all understand it? All right. Did y'all understand that? Genesis 12. So let's continue on. Did I read that already? Okay. So they want to play games with these words. 8, he left there to go towards the mountain of the east of Bethel and pitch his tent, having Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to Yahweh and called the name on Yahweh's name. Abram traveled, still going towards the south. All right, now I'm going to prove again that this word north and south, or the word Negev, only depicts a certain landmass in the Middle East. So in Daniel 11 and 40, he talks about the king of the north versus the king of the south. But the word that he's using for south is not Daron, it's HaNegev. The king of the Negev. Why? Because in Daniel's 11:40, as it's talking at the past tense of this king of the north against the king of the south, at the time of the end shall the king of the south push at him, and the king of the north shall come against him like a whirlwind. Now, I do understand that y'all's using these terms to describe these same empires that have expanded, and they're taking on the same titles. King of the north towards the king of the south, right? And the chariots, and with horsemen, and with many ships. And he shall enter into the countries and shall overflow and pass over. This is future prophecy, but it's also prophecy that happened already. And the king of the north and the king of the south is between the two generals that continued on after the 4 generals of Alexander, is Seleucus and Ptolemy. This is the landmass of the Seleucus dynasty, king of the north, and this is the landmass of Ptolemy, king of the south. And right here is where what? He doesn't have Arabia, he has what? The Negev. Sometimes the Negev is also used as Egypt, as in Sinai. Sinai was split between sometimes the property of Israel and sometimes the property of Egypt. So you can see Negev also being used as Egypt. But it is on the border between Israel and Egypt in the Sinai, from Beersheba going all the way down into the Sinai. So he says here, it says, Imo with the Melech HaNegev. The Melech HaNegev is Ptolemy, from Egypt all the way to this desert area, Sinai up into Israel. And he uses the word here, Melech HaSafon, is the king of the north. Outside of that, it is parabolic, but that is the landmass where the Negev was, going into Egypt. So he continues south into the Negev. Did it say he reached Egypt yet? He had to pass the Negev to get into Egypt. And the Negev is here, south of Israel and Sinai, to get into what? Egypt. Hallelujah. Here is a picture here, maybe colors could. So here is what the territory of the king of Ptolemy's kingdom, from Egypt into Sinai and parts of Israel right here. And this is the Chaldees dynasty. King of the south against the king of the north. So that you have to go through the Negev to cross into Egypt. Egypt is this desert right here. This is the Arabian desert, and this is the Negev right here. Right here. So this is the Negev desert, and this is the Arabian desert. They have very specific names. Why is it important, one, to know where Babylonia is? Here's Babylon, Mesopotamia, the river Euphrates. Arabia is here. It's important to know where the Arabian desert is because it keeps telling you the word wilderness, and it's translating as Arabia, the Arabah. Very specific. Not Africa, not Akabi land, not the Congo, not Negro land either. The Arabah. And it doesn't use Negev because that is not the desert that we're going into. That's where Demona is now. Demona is in the Negev, believing that they're fulfilling prophecy, believing that they're in a wilderness, but they're not in the wilderness of the people. They're in the Negev. Yes. Right? And so you can see the pictures here, but I think this you can see a little more better. That's right. Okay. Y'all understand? It was a good lesson, right? All right. So Abraham travels still going on towards the south, Ha Negev. So I'm mapping this out, showing you that this is Arabia. This desert from the valley of behind Jerusalem, this valley, before you get to the bottom of the valley, constitutes the Arabah. All of this is the Arabah here. But on this side is called the Negev. And then when we get to here and here, there's very distinct names for these wildernesses. Negev is a name for a particular place in the wilderness between Israel and Egypt. And then we have the wilderness of Zin and the wilderness of that, which go further into here and further into here and all of that. This is the Negev right here. And if you go there right now, if I go on the map, it will show you Negev this, Negev that, Negev, a very distinct desert. And it's a beautiful desert. Let me see. All right. Do I want to go there? Let me see. All right. So now I'm on Google Maps, right? I'm on Google Maps right here. This is the state of Israel, right? As we know it. This is Jordan as we know it. And going up is going further into Damascus, Lebanon, and Syria, right? Let me shrink it so y'all can see from the bigger perspective. This is Syria, Iraq. This is ancient Mesopotamia, Babylon. He came on down into Israel. This is Jordan on that side. He's traveling all the way down. I'm telling you once again that this area that is part of Sinai and southern Israel is called the Negev. Now let me show you, right? This is the Gaza Strip. This is Beersheba. This is Demona right here. Mitzpeh Ramon. All of this on this side is called the Negev. Right? I'm gonna just pull up close. You seeing close, right? What does it say? Negev Nuclear Research Center. Negev, near Demona, right? Araba Negev. See that? Let me pull up more. You're gonna see more Negevs. Let me see. No, make it closer. The Negev Mountain Reserve. See? Okay. Getting lost. It's using the word desert here, but that is the Negev. Okay. That's the Negev. This is the Negev, y'all. All of this is the negative. Let me put it. Negative. It's a Hebrew term. Okay, it's just negative this, negative that, right? This is going to take me all in a minute. This is the negative, the center of the negative. Where are we at? Right here. And so he continued on south. He had to go through what? The negative. Why didn't he use Teman? Because he's not on this side. He would have used when Moshe was on this side of the Jordan, and he said, look southward. He said, look towards Teman, which is in the land of Eden. That would have been on this side, but he's on this side. Southward is now, he has to go through the Negev, which is known as the Sinai Peninsula. And that is the land border, and the only land border that he could have passed through to get into what? Egypt. Okay. All right, let's continue. All right, so I'm going to show you another picture. Genesis 9, this is 12 and 9. He traveled still going on towards the south. That's the Negev desert right here. This is all considered the Negev desert. On this side is considered the Arabian desert. That's the Negev. Okay, so we can see it says that he traveled from Chaldees into what? Haran, and going down towards the land of Canaan into Bethel, and he passed onward south, going south still towards the Negev. This makes sense, right? All right, let's move forward. Y'all can see that? All right, kids? Here's a bigger view. Where's Africa? Where's Egypt? Right here. Where's Sudan? Eritrea, Libya, right here, which is put. Ethiopia down here, Sudan, South Sudan, North Sudan, South Sudan, North Sudan. Like, these people are stupid, right? And this is what? Negro land, way over here. Way over here. This is where we at, all right? Genesis 12, continuing on. And 10, there was a famine in the land. So there was a famine in the land where he was, and he went down into Egypt. So obviously the land of Canaan went through a famine. Not as rich and luxurious as you think. It went through a famine, and he went down into Egypt to live as a foreigner there. So he spent some time in Egypt. For the famine was severe in the land of what? Israel and the Negev. When he had come near to enter Egypt, yes, he tells Abraham to go into a land, and all of a sudden, there's a famine. Think about it. Would Yah tell you to go somewhere by his will and then cause a famine? Oh, yeah. And when he had come near to enter, and this is the land he wants to give Abraham, this famine land, right? How about it's not the time yet when I'm going to do what I do to it, but I still need you to see it. It's barren now. It won't be when I bring you back. That's right. It says, when he had come near to enter Egypt, he said to Sarah, his wife, see now, I know that you are a beautiful woman to look at. It will happen that when the Egyptians see you, they will say, this is his wife. They will kill me, but they will save you alive. Please say that you are my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake, and that my soul may live because of you. When Abraham had come into Egypt, Egyptians saw that the woman was very beautiful, that the woman was very beautiful. The princes of Pharaoh saw her, so he had to go through some kind of border patrol, right? And I mean, our sisters was fine. They were desert flowers, but they were fine. And praised her to Pharaoh. And the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. So they took her. And so if we went into Pharaoh's house, that means we went into the plush of Egypt, right? And he dealt with Abram for her sake. He had sheep, cattle, male donkey, male servants, female donkeys, and camels. Yahweh afflicted Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Pharaoh called Abraham and said, "What is this that you have done to me? Why didn't you tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister so that I took her to be my wife? Now, therefore, see your wife, take her and go away." Pharaoh commanded men concerning him, and they escorted him away with his wife and all that he had. All right. And so it says 10. There was a famine in the land, and Abraham went down into Egypt. So we have go black to Africa saying stuff like this.
Up means south, down means north, if anybody understands that.
Who's an agent? Down, the word is yered. It comes from the word to descend, going down to Mitzrayim. What idiot doesn't know that down means south? Example, down south. We from America, right? All right. Here's America, right? Most of us who has come from New Jersey, Connecticut, New York City, Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, Philly, who's east, right? We East Coast uptown, right? Whenever you say down south, what that mean? Down south, right? And that would be like, and if you don't say where, it'd be like, where you going? Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. Look, North Carolina, South Carolina. Down south. And then way down south would be where? Georgia, Mississippi. We're going down south. South. So where in this world can you say going down south means going north, or going down means north? Where? What idiot is saying this to you and y'all believe him? Now, let me tell you what they're trying to play on. Because they trying to force this, he coming from Africa. No. All right. Genesis 13. We in chapter 13 now. This is what they're playing. It says, now Abraham went up, right? So he went down into Egypt. That would be south. It says he continued south. Now, Pharaoh said, get thee out of here. And Abraham went up. The word is Ya'al. Up. Al, up. It means ascend. He ascended from Egypt, right? Where Ya'al, Abram, and he went up, Abraham, from Mitzrayim. We come on now, we smart, right? I think if I was to say to Emuna, where's up? Come here, Emuna. Where's she at? What that mean? She sleep? She down. She down. She down, right? Okay. Hanegev. It says he ascended from Egypt, he and his wife, that all that he had, and Lot with him. Now, this is the trick that they're playing on you, and I'm gonna have to pull this out for a 2-minute clip by itself. How does it read in your Bible? Come on, somebody open it up. This is what they're playing on. We're gonna read the Hebrew, but I'm showing you that the word two don't mean there. How does it read?
And Abraham went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south.
Come back. Can you read that? That would confuse you, right? Right. So this is why they keep playing. They don't read 12. They won't read you the whole Genesis story. They're just gonna pick out one. And the word is not south. This could only make sense if Negev didn't really mean south. It meant the south desert of Israel. Can you read that? Here, right here. Right here.
And Abraham went up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south.
Into the south. That would make you think that he's coming from when? That he's going, right? That he's going into Africa. This is the game they're playing. When it just told you that he traveled south from the north. That don't make sense. The only way it makes sense is what it means what I just said. It means that Negev doesn't necessarily distinctly mean south. It means a wilderness desert place south of Israel. All right. But the word don't say into this, it says Velat, right, with him, Emo. And it just says HaNegev. It don't say Le, Me, Ad, Negev. It says the Negev. So the two is not there. It says, and Abraham went up. He went up from Egypt. He went up. That means he went north with his wife, and he had all that he had, and Lot with him to the Negev. That means he returned from where he came down from, right? That would be up. So the Negev is a place, not a direction, as I just told you, right? And Abraham was, now, if you read the next, they never read two, it wouldn't make sense. Abraham was very rich in livestock and silver and gold. He went on his journey from the Negev until Bethel, to the place where he had his tent, had been at the beginning between Bethel and Ai. So it says Negev. Let's look at this on the map. Here's Babylon, Chaldees. This is Mesopotamia, Syria. They went to Haran. Then he came down, traveling from north to the south into Ai and Bethel. Then he goes down into the Negev, which is this area right here, and then travels towards the south, continues south towards Egypt. And it had to be up in these lands where it's nice and green because it was about a famine. And then they kicked him out, and he ascended back up to the, where does he, if he gonna go straight to the, he's got to pass what? The Negev, the south of Israel, but he's going up, which is north, up, passing the Negev again, not a direction, a place, back up into the mountain where he was before. Can we see it? Make that make sense. Make that make sense. All right. So this is the game that they're playing. Okay, so let's read it off. And Abraham went up out of Egypt, up out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the Negev, to the Negev, not south, Negev. How is Negev south and is north? How is it up? How is it? Just like the word mine or mayim is using the word west, but it's not west here. It's using the word south here. Because these are not terms of direction. These are terms of placement. Yes, places. Abraham was very rich in livestock, silver, and in gold. And he went on his journey from the south, from the Negev, as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been, and at the beginning between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. There Abraham called on Yahweh's name. Lot also, who went with him, Abraham had flocks, herds, and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might live together. For their possessions were so great that they couldn't live together. There was strife. So now one of the arguments that they made, that land is too small for the whole house of Israel, but he told them to go into a land right now that couldn't even just bear Lot and Abraham. Well, they couldn't bear them because there was a drought and something was going on with the weather. Something was going on with that land. How about because Canaan was in it? Right? And it says, for their possessions were so great that they could not live together. There was strife between the herdsmen of Abraham's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. The Canaanites and the Perizzites lived in the land at that time. Abraham said to Lot, please let there be no strife between you and me, between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, for we are relatives. Isn't the whole land before you? Please separate yourself from me. So two herdsmen can't share the same area, right? If you go to the left hand, then I will go to the right. If you go to the right hand, then I will go to the left, right? He's saying all this land separate. I love you, but we need space. We brothers, but we need space. Genesis 13 and 10. So Lot lifted up his eyes and saw all the environs of Jordan. Where did he look? He looked into Jordan, which would be what? East. And that it was well watered everywhere before Yahweh destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. What is he telling you? That Sodom and Gomorrah was where the valley of Jordan was. And that's where the Jordan Valley is. No. Yeah, but that splits off into a lot of waterways. And then there's underground waterways. So where is Sodom and Gomorrah now? This is the slam dunk as well. Wherever he looked was towards Jordan. And that's where Sodom and Gomorrah was. Like the garden of Yahweh, like the land of Egypt. Why is he saying the garden? The garden of Yahweh is what? Gan Eden. And like the land of Egypt. Egypt, when he went through the Nile River, those banks was plentiful. So he's calling that like an Eden. Like the garden of Yahweh is where, right? It's just saying it was full of trees. It had a lot of greenery and trees and water, well watered. The garden is well watered and trees and fruits firmly planted, right? So Sodom and Gomorrah, before it became a salt land wasteland, disappeared, was like the Garden of Eden. So somebody writing the term Eden anywhere means nothing, especially when they wrote it on the part of Africa where it's nothing but a desert wasteland. You see what I'm saying? It says, like the land of Egypt as you go to Zoar. So Lot chose the plain of Jordan for himself. Lot traveled what? East. Make this make sense with these people, y'all. Mekedem, east, and they separated themselves from one another. Abraham lived in the land of Canaan, and Lot lived in the cities of the plain and moved his tent as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were exceedingly wicked and the sinners against Yahweh. Y'all know the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, right? What happened to Sodom and Gomorrah? Y'all destroyed it and it became what? A bed of salt. All right. Which was where? Eastward towards the Jordan, what? Valleys. All right, watch. Let's prove where Jordan east of Bethel is. Genesis 14, the war of the kings, right after 13. Now, y'all, this is geography. Y'all, I mean, Moshe wrote this in such a way through the spirit of Yah that he was like, anybody, y'all, I wrote this in a way, can't nobody play with this. 14, the king of wars, the wars of the kings. 1, in the days of Araphel, king of Shinar. What's Shinar? Shinar is Babylon. Is another term for Babylon. Arioch, king of Elasar. I don't know what. Shalamadra, that is also in Assyria. King of Elam, which is in Iraq and Iran and Pakistan and Persia. Tidal, king of Goim. Don't know, that could be up in Turkey. They made war with Bera, king of Sodom, right, going down. Bersha, king of Gomorrah. Shanab, king of Adamah. Shemaber, king of Zeboam. All of these is in the Jordan Valley. And the king of Bela, also called Zoar. All these joined together in the valley of Sidon. It is the Salt Sea. The valley of Sidon, where Lot set up shop, which is on the east side in the Jordan Valley, is where this war took place. And it is now the Salt Sea. This is Moshe writing this, so it happened already. It says, Hu Yam Hamelach, the Salt Sea. Yes, they call it the Dead Sea sometimes. Why do they call it the Dead Sea? Because nothing can live there. There's no bacteria or anything. That's why it's such a healing place. Because to go in that, if you have any skin diseases, as far as bacteria or virus on the skin, it'll kill it. Nothing can survive. Not one amoeba, not one cell's bacteria could live in that.
The Dead Sea, one of the most inhospitable places on the planet. At 1,300 meters below sea level, the shores of this desolate salt lake are the lowest place on Earth. Although the River Jordan, a sacred place for time immemorial, flows into it, there is nowhere for the water to go. Its only release being the punishing sun evaporating it during the course of each day, leaving just salt and mineral behind. This is very likely the saltiest body of water on the planet, more so than the Great Salt Lake of Utah. Just a few gulps of this liquid will kill a human in a matter of hours. Not only that, but deep sinkholes regularly appear all over its banks, threatening to open up and swallow those foolish enough to wander too close to the shore. Yet, all the same, people have not only lived here, but on many occasions thrived for thousands upon thousands of years. This is Bible country. According to biblical archaeologists, on one edge of this lake, the once prosperous cities of Sodom and Gomorrah may have once thrived. The similarly ancient city of Jericho and a whole multitude of other biblical sites are located only a few days' walk away. And later still, salt merchants from the Bronze Age to the Ottoman era risked their lives to brave the harsh, deadly still waters of the sea.
So, it's where the Salt Sea is. The king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah, the king of Adamah, the king of Zeboam, and the king of Bela, also called Zar, went out, and they set the battle in array against them in the valley of Sidon, against Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Gihon, Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Ariah, king of Elazar, 4 kings against the 5. Now I'm in Joshua 15, the territory of Judah. I'm not reading the whole thing, but the territory of Judah is what? Let's see. This then was the lot of the tribe of the children of Judah by their families, even to the border of what? Edom. Where's Edom? On the other side of the Jordan, south, Teman, right? The wilderness of Zin, southward. The wilderness is called what? Negba, in the Negev. So the wilderness of Zin is in the Sinai, was the uttermost part of the south coast, what? Teman. So we got 2 words, Negba and Teman. It's describing something. And their south, Negev, border was from the shore of the what? Yam Hamelach, which is in the valley of Jordan, from the tongue that faces southward, Negba. All right, then I put a map here. Where are we talking about? Anybody know where the Salt Sea? This is Jordan. If he's looking over here, and we talking about, he went to the valley of Jordan, and where he went was in Sidon. Then where did he go? They over here. He crossed over into this valley. This is Jordan, and he went down into Sidon, Gomorrah, Sodom, And there was a war against all these kings up here, against these kings down in here. They came down to fight a war in this valley, which is known as the Yamamelech, the Sea of Salt. So where was he? Right here. You gonna tell me that's not there? Find me this salt sea that's in Jordan, that's on the east side of the Jerusalem, that is south, north, down, up of Africa from Egypt. Map upside down. Find it for me. Find it for me. All right, let me give you a bigger map. This is what we're talking about. So they came back up. This is his journey back up from Bethel. They decided to separate. He went what? Eastward. Lot went eastward, right? Lot is green. So eastward into Jordan would be this way, right? Into the valleys. It's green all down in here. It's waterways and everything. And he went as far as into Sidon, where the Dead Sea is right now. Right there, which is below seawater. So this is where Sodom and Gomorrah is, which is in the valley of Jordan. That borders Israel. So where's the land of Judah? Judah is Jerusalem, right? All the way down into the Negev, which would be down here, all the way down into the border of what? The sea, all the way down into Timon. So this is the land of Judah, all in here. Now there's more to those borders distinct, but we can see the map enough from those three borders where this at. The Dead Sea is a dead giveaway. All right. Let's see. Y'all want to see the Dead Sea? So y'all haven't traveled these lands, but I have. Well, y'all seen the Dead Sea, right? Everybody in this room was down there where Sodom and Gomorrah was, right? Which is on the east side, right? From the Jordan side. And then I got pictures of some of us on the west side. That would be the land of Israel, right? Behind the land of Judah. All right. Who's telling a lie? Okay. Genesis 13. Let's continue on. In 14, Yahweh said to Abraham, after Lot was separated from him, now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are. Safa, right? Northward and southward. Hanegba, that would be him looking down to the Negev. Eastward, Kadima would be Jordan, and westward, Veyameh would be the Mediterranean. For I will give all the land which you see to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring as the dust of the earth, so that if a man could count the dust of the earth, then your offspring may also be counted. Arise, walk through the land in the length and in the width, for I will give it to you. Abraham moved his tent and came to live by the oaks of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built an altar there to Yahweh. Hebron is right here. This is Hebron. Hebron is Hebron today. The name ain't changed. It's in Palestinian territory. It's not in the West Bank, but it's still Palestinian territory. I actually knew some people in Hebron, right? Okay, so say it ain't so. Make this work. Now we go into Genesis 15. We following the timeline. Everybody skip, cherry pick, no verses here. We went from 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. That's geography 101. You don't start anywhere with geography and maps until you understand Genesis 12, 13, 14, and 15, from where the Tower of Babel was. 16, and in the fourth generation, they will come here again, right? So this is the prophecy everybody swear that they unfolded, didn't unpack, didn't know, still trying to predict it. And I'm the only one that told everybody, y'all got it wrong. Why y'all keep shifting another year and a year and a year when I told you that it didn't mean at that particular time, but sometime after that. But you call me a false prophet, but I think all of y'all are sitting naked and false right now. Why TEOW keeps adding another year and another year, right? Switching out the prophecy to somewhere else, right? When I explained it then, At 2019, no, when did I explain it? 2018, that y'all got it wrong. I didn't even wait to 2019 to tell y'all that it's not happening at 2019. I told you in 2018 that you misunderstand the prophecy. And then you got people like, what's his name? New Beginners channel, still trying to challenge me on my understanding when we passed 2019 and y'all got it wrong and I'm still right. And everything I said is coming to pass, right? I said, your scattering is not your gathering, but your scattering is going to lead to your gathering. Why you scattered? Because you listening to Negroes like these people telling you go all over the world and scatter across Africa. And is that not happening? Y'all are fooled with internet thinking y'all are connected through the internet airwaves. Y'all crazy. Y'all are going through the sky guide to believe that y'all are a community on the YouTube. That people got YouTube ministries on a screen. And as soon as this thing go down, you're going to realize how alone you are. What kind of fantasy idol worship have y'all been engrafted with to think that you're a part of a community online? This is witchcraft. I'm seeing your face through visions. And I'm hearing your voices through the God of the air. Is this what it intends to be? When y'all say, when I gather you, you will no more put your teachers in the corner. Where am I? Right here in the corner, right? But you will do what? See them face to face. You see it, right? That's where y'all got me, in the corner. So where could the corner be? It couldn't be just in the room. If he said, as opposed to the corner, you would see them what? Face to face. What's the corner? A corner in your room, on the TV box, in a corner on the table. Me on the corner of the corner, in a corner. That's deep, ain't it? See how y'all be talking for all times? So in a corner couldn't mean me sitting literally in your face in a corner. It means it's not real. People are like, can I be your student? I'll be like, watch me in the corner. What's wrong with you? Can I get on live? You're not with me live if you're not here where I'm living. It's with you going through the airways of the, what you call it? The globe, what you call it? The crystal ball. Y'all over here talking about, can I talk to you through the crystal ball? That's not where it's supposed to be. And so this is the community that Ronald Daltons and TEOTWs call themselves. Wait till it goes, wait till the blackout. Wait till the time of silence and darkness. So y'all created darkness in Egypt before for 3 days and 3 nights by ash, right? And blotted out the sun. What's going to be your time of darkness? Man. So let me finish. So one of the arguments is that don't tell me that little strip of land that's smaller than can house all of Israel. What are you talking about? First of all, the country of Israel, how many of y'all have been able to travel it with me and that we travel, right? It's got so much land spread out. The issue is that they want to keep people in cities. And cities got borderland masses and how much you can pack people on top of a city. But the land is plenteous. The land is plentiful. So they talking about this small the city of New York. How many people is in New York? Huh? 8 million people. But the prophecy says that it's only 144,000. Though you be like the sands of the sea and the stars, but I will what? Only leave what? A remnant. So what are you talking about? What are y'all talking about? We don't need all of Africa. The land is big enough to hold us now. But That's not the borders, according to the word of Yah. This is the prophecy by which we understand the word of Yah. In that day, it says, in the fourth generation, they will come here again, for the iniquity of the Amorite is not yet full. The iniquity of the Amorite is a bunch of Canaanite, African boogalooga scratchers that has influenced us and birthed us. That is Pan-Africanism, that is Kemetic community, that is Orisha worship, that is ancestor worship, that is sacrifice worship, that is Baal worship, money, and that's what y'all, it's not yet full, right? Did not just read in Hosea that it says, and when they will be full of the Baal, when they will be full of Baal, who did the Amorites worship? Baal, but it's not yet full. When he does this, what's going to happen? When our sins become so full in Baal, and it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, a smoking furnace and a flaming torch passed between the pieces, darkness, a trembling, a sacrifice. And in that day, Yahweh made a covenant with Abraham, saying, I have given this land to your offspring. From what? The river of Egypt. The word is Menahar Mitzrayim. Nahar Mitzrayim. Now, there is a conversation with more intellectual, intelligent people, not your niggas that's thinking that they are geologists and anthropologists and you know, historians, but more intelligent people about, does that mean from the Nile or is that the Red Sea? I'm going to say to you that I don't believe that it's from the Nile, but I'm going to put the Nile in there for your liking, because it never says the Nilos, the Nile. It says from Nahal, right? The stream or the river, right? The word is river or the stream of the Egyptian sea. One would say that, but that stream doesn't just work. I'm going to show you. Unto the great river, the river Euphrates, right? Parat. Ha-Nahar, Ha-Gadol, Nahar, Parat. All right. So where would that be? I'm going to use the now for your liking. That's another conversation for more intelligent, higher. That's not for you. That's for me sitting down with a scholar to maybe reason that he's not talking about from the Nile, but from the Red Sea. As I read the prophecy last week, go refer to that, he uses the word Nahal, but then he uses the great sea and the tongue of the Egyptian what? Sea, and then he uses the word the river, right? So if we was to look at the prophecy, everywhere Abraham went would be where? From the great river Euphrates, which is all the way here, to, I'm gonna say the Nile for now, because that's where he traveled to, at least that far into Egypt. From the river of Egypt, that's our landmass. That's the kingdom. That's Eden. That's Eden. And Yah's whole 4 holy mountains that I know some of y'all are reading Jubilees and all of the Qumran scripts, and y'all are reading the English where it talks about how he says, and Jerusalem would be in the center, the navel of the earth, and the center, but y'all don't understand what that means. And that Yah's 4 holy mountains are within the same what? They all in front of each other. That would be what? A longitude situation. So that's another conversation, that's another teaching that I have yet to put out about the 3 mountains that we know about. So where's Zion? And it has to be in the same longitude. If they all in front of each other, front would be what? North, back would be what? South. East and west, we're not talking about latitude. We're talking about longitude. So he says all of the 4 holy mountains of Yah is in front of each other. That means that they share the same longitude. So all we have to determine is 2 to get a line to follow in front of each other. And then we can assume, we can summate, we can calculate where the 4th mountain is. and where Mount Sinai was. We'll do that study. I've already done it, but they can't because they got to push Africa. You can't switch up. First, you got to determine where Jerusalem is. They still looking for that, but we know. Then you got to determine what Mount Hermon is. That was the first holy mountain. It's polluted now, but you can't find that. You can't find Hermon in Africa, and you are not gonna find Jerusalem in Africa. And you have no idea what Sinai was, but we have an idea. Make that make sense. As people still trying to push Africa, but read Jubilees and the book of Enoch. We're gonna read that. We're gonna make some sense out because it wasn't given for these people to talk anything. These are the borders, and it's more than enough. It's more than enough space for 144,000. This is enough space for 10 million, 50 million. It's bigger than Nigeria. It's almost as big as Algeria, Libya. And it's about 1/3 of the size of America. Y'all Negroes ain't that big that y'all spread out across America. Get out of here. This is the true borders of Israel, where the kingdom will be manifest when Yah deems it to be so. Otherwise, he didn't ask you to conquer the whole land. He just said, get within my borders. That he's going to split this sea, either be this one, but that's not a sea, y'all. And he doesn't have to split it because there's little bridges that only takes you 3 minutes to walk over all across here. If you go any further into Egypt, we're talking about crocodiles now. He's splitting this one to walk over into what? Dry shores. He said the wadis of Egypt, that would be from the mountains, y'all. 7 streams. So yeah, you can land your behind all the way down here in Ethiopia. You can land your behind all the way down here, Tanzania. I don't believe that anybody of these Negroes that's speaking this stuff gonna make it. They're gonna be slaughtered. But the rest of y'all gonna be crying, right? Coming up from beyond that river, from beyond, you coming from beyond that river, coming up, as I showed you on Shia, where we coming to? From over the fords of the Palestine, right? Philistine, together to meet with the sons of Ammon and to plunder Edom. And the rest of y'all are coming from what? Patros, which is Lower Egypt, and Egypt coming from here. And some coming from Assyria, which is up here, where we meeting, right here in the middle. But y'all gonna be crying. Where's the way to Zion? Because half of y'all ain't never even been up in this land to know it. Nobody can direct y'all, but I've given you the sign. Follow the music. Because those that are of Zion will be doing what? Singing. And the rest of y'all gonna be doing what? Crying. So you give a what? A pure sacrifice. All right. Holy Mount Zion, right here where the Bible said it was, in the land of Shem. Now, he put the word Eden right here in the desert, in the desert of Africa, no man's land. All right. So we're going to take a break, then we're going to come back. Hallelujah. Yeah. All right. Let me stop.